I received a cease and desist letter from attorneys representing Hailey Bieber in an attempt to intimidate me and silence me.
Hailey Bieber is making headlines today. And it's not for fashion, skincare, or anything fun. It's because she's taking a legal step that basically says, enough is enough. And if you've been paying attention online lately, you already know why this is such a big deal. Because TikTok has turned celebrity rumors into full-blown storylines. And sometimes those storylines spread so hard, they start looking like truth, even when they're not.
So Hailey reposted my video where I said her relationship has only lasted so long because she's a tolerant codependent. And then she gaslighted everyone after they saw it with their own eyes and said, no, she didn't. And then basically called everyone losers, saying that they're obsessed with her relationship and always on the internet. Okay, a few things going on here psychologically. Well, first I want to say the messed up part about all this is the video that she did repost, that there's screenshots of her reposting, was my original content that another account stole. I digress though, the message still stands. So what we see here is classic deflection. This is even what I said in my first video about tolerant codependence. It's the mental gymnastics taking place, and cognitive dissonance is kind of wild when you see it happening in front of you. So what happens with cognitive dissonance is the brain just cannot be comfortable holding two conflicting ideas. So those beliefs conflict with facts. Let's say, just in theory, that her relationship is toxic or even abusive. Let's say she is a tolerant codependent. So those things can't exist with her identity beliefs. So you basically see people go full remix, right? You're obsessed, that's not what's happening, I didn't repost. And let's take Hailey out of the equation. Because by the way, if you didn't know, Hailey Bieber is not the reason why I make these videos. I make these videos so that you see your own patterns. And guess what? When people are in abusive, toxic relationships, we see the same remix. People tell you that they're happy. They tell you that he's not a bad guy. They take the bare minimum and see, look at what he's done. And they're not just trying to convince you. They're trying to convince themselves. That's why when you finally get out of an abusive relationship, you're like, oh my gosh, whoa, I can't believe, look at everything that I didn't realize. Look at everything that I stayed for. And we talk a lot about abusers gaslighting us, and we forget to talk about the way we gaslight ourselves, the way we brainwash ourselves. There's a lot of overlap between abuse psychology, cult psychology. In some ways, we become our own cult leader of our own church of, this is a healthy relationship, this is a good guy, this is what I want. And look, I'm sure the repost was probably accidental. She saw the content, but I'm sure she doesn't want us to know that she saw the content. And you know, maybe she was there watching it at 2 a.m. and something did strike in her. But then you wake up the next day and you're confronted with the beliefs that you hold and your reality. And that's too much for a lot of people. They can't hold those conflicting beliefs. That's why Hailey can take something that people saw with their own eyes, that they have screenshots about it, and say, that didn't happen, it didn't happen. The mental gymnastics are crazy because they have to be. Denial is a coping mechanism. And Hailey doesn't have to come to terms with that. It's her life, and I'm not surprised that she doesn't come to terms with that. I think if she did and had to see her relationship for what it is, she'd probably have a psychotic break. So whatever, keep flipping, bending over backwards, convincing yourself of a reality that isn't real. It's not about Hailey. You yourself watching this though should be asking, what can you learn from it and how can you make your life better because of that? Most long-term relationships that we romanticize and congratulate only work because the woman is a tolerant codependent. And when I say tolerant, I mean she tolerates mediocrity, abuse, doing the majority of domestic and emotional labor in exchange for being in a relationship. And that is a contract that I am opting out of. There is no better example than Hailey Bieber and Justin Bieber. People wonder how this relationship is still lasting. It is because Hailey is a tolerant, codependent woman. Hailey will never leave Justin. She is a stayer. I know some of y'all love Justin. Justin is an addict. You cannot be a good partner or an equal partner when you are in addiction. And in my opinion, an addicted partner is always an abusive partner. The disease of addiction is too selfish for you to be anything else. But this relationship will work and people romanticize it because Hailey will tolerate that abuse. Ozzy Osbourne and Sharon Osbourne are another example of this. When you hear their interviews, if you take out the comedy of it, it is horrific, the abuse that they recount. Physical abuse, emotional abuse, cheating, and intense, deep addiction on Ozzy's side. And Sharon tolerated all of that. She's a tolerant, codependent. Dax Shepard, Kristen Bell. Kristen is a tolerant, codependent woman. This man is so jealous of her. He jumps at any chance to put her down. But he found a woman to tolerate his disrespect. She desires so bad to be this cool girl, to be a wife. She seems like she has a good heart. As women, we naturally want the connection. We want what we are sold to, what a relationship between two people was supposed to be. And that's why as women, we keep losing out in this contract contract that is a long-term relationship or marriage. So I'm going to ask you guys, what are you romanticizing in these? We need to come to terms with that is a shitty contract. So why are we congratulating these women and romanticizing these relationships? I received a cease and desist letter from attorneys representing Hailey Bieber in an attempt to intimidate me and silence me. Of course, that's in my opinion, which I am legally allowed to have. What I shared were my opinions. It was a psychological and sociological thought piece on why some relationships last. And being offended by the opinions that I have does not entitle you to erase people's voices. This is so elitist to me. Truly behold the temper tantrums of the rich. And this is how smaller voices are taught to shut up. I think a case like this is really important for all creators to take note of, because opinions, commentary, and even criticism of public figures is protected, and that matters not just for me, but for all of us. Keep in mind, all of this is blowing up because Hailey reposted the video of my thoughts. And then of course she tried to say she didn't, even though that screenshots exist. Now she's sending me a cease and desist on a video she allegedly never saw. Thought pieces are not criminal charges. Opinions aren't illegal just because they're inconvenient to you. But if you need lawyers to survive an opinion, you're not powerful, you're fragile, and I see it. If you want to support me in this, because honestly, I need your support around this discourse, please go watch one of my YouTube videos today. I feel like I will probably need the AdSense. All of this is intimidating, it's meant to be, but I believe in the power of using your voice and not being silenced.
And that's where things get dangerous, especially when it's someone like Hailey, who has dealt with nonstop online narratives for years, whether she responds or stays quiet. But this chimmy, it looks like she's ing. According to TMZ, Hailey Bieber sent a cease and desist letter to a TikToker with claims that the creator was pushing content that crossed the line into damaging allegations and harassment. The report suggests Hailey's team is trying to shut down what they see as false or harmful narratives being repeated online. My honest take is this feels like a turning point. Because when a celebrity goes legal...
Okay, got it. So Justin himself can say it, but when I say it, it's defamation. Yeah, it's not going to work on someone who decides not to have amnesia. The mental gymnastics should be studied in you people, because all you have to do is... This is an Instagram caption Justin himself wrote. I started doing pretty heavy drugs at 19 and abused all my relationships. It also goes into how he treated women. I became resentful, disrespectful, and angry. And by the way, just in my opinion, being around a man who is resentful, disrespectful, and angry is a scary position to be in. And maybe he's not that way anymore. So I'll just let you guys decide if you think maybe how he talked about his wife when she was on the cover of Vogue, and remember how he himself wrote about how he told her she was never going to be on the cover of, and I will let you decide if you think that sounds respectful or disrespectful. Does it sound proud or does it sound resentful? I already said my opinion on it, but I would encourage you to come up with an opinion on your own. But just be aware, if you share that opinion and someone powerful decides that they don't like it because maybe it hurt their feelings, be prepared to be threatened to act accordingly and at your own peril. And that's why this thing is so much bigger than me, because disagreement does not equal defamation. And in fact, I would actually maybe make an argument that he didn't even disagree with me. In my alleged opinion, of course.
It usually means the situation has gone way past annoying. It means it's affecting real life, reputation, safe business, Ming Tao Hao, everything. And it also sends a message to every influencer who builds a platform on celebrity drama. There's a difference between commentary and targeted damage. So here's my question. Do you think Hailey is doing the right thing by going legal? Or do you think it'll only make the TikTok rumors explode even more?